year. They did score off last year as 9-year-olds down at an event in Florida, and the Futures came out on top on that one. So, you know, the Banditos are looking for a little revenge, even though it's a year later. They don't forget.
All these tournaments that have taken place over the last year, and this is the first time they've met.
This is the first time.
That's not a rarity, but you will see these teams meet in other tournaments building up to the national championship. So that takes the matchup to an entirely new level.
It does. And, you know, it's you're talking about youth baseball. I mean, let's put this in perspective. You've got a team from Texas and a team from North Carolina. So the opportunity for them to see each other during the year is very, very small. They have to come to big events like this or you know, someplace else during the summertime because parents have to take time off work. Kids can't be in school. And so this is the time of year when these events and these matchups take place. So everyone's looking forward to this one. I know I am. We had an exciting game the last one between the Banditos and the Kangaroo Court. 8-7 ball game.
Yeah.
And give the kids from Florida a lot of credit. They could have easily rolled over and laid down. They got down early. But credit to them and the organization. They battled back and made it a ball game, and they had a shot, right? 8-7, and just came up a little bit short.
Banditos held on to win that ball game, and so now Texas and North Carolina in the final, elimination bracket ball game. Of course, the championship will be a one-off, just a one-game championship for the title here in the 10U classification. So I guess effectively that's a elimination bracket ball game, if you follow my meaning. But SBA Futures, #1 in America. The Banditos from Texas, #2 in America. Now, Texas going to be the visiting club in this ball game. 4-0 inside of group play, or pool play if you prefer. 40-12, they outscored their opponents. Here inside of bracketed play, 3-1, and they've outscored their opponents 27-18 as they climb into the box with Frankie Cantu, the center fielder, Hector Cadena, the shortstop, hitting second, and Troy Gonzalez will be behind the plate and hitting third today. That's your guaranteed 3 for the Banditos from Texas. Meanwhile, for the boys from North Carolina SBA Futures, let's take a look at their defense before we get things started. In the outfield, left to right, it's Cunningham, Carroll, and McCain. That's Cunningham, Carroll, and McCain, left to right. On the infield, McGammon, Newell, Thompson, and Talmadge, third to first. Again, McGammon, Newell, Thompson, and Talmadge on the infield. Webb behind the plate. Receiving the dealings from John Hucko. John, a left-hander. You see him there, center portion of your screen. Ready to get us going here in Metro Atlanta. It has turned into, you hear this comment all the time, but boy, has it truly turned into a Chamber of Commerce type day here in Metro Atlanta. In the middle of June, no less. Humidity is not quite where we're accustomed to seeing it. The temperature is certainly not where we're accustomed to seeing it. We're sitting right around 80 degrees by middle afternoon today. Left-hander ready, and we're underway with ball one to Frankie Cantu.
You know, talk about the weather, Chris. It's been beautiful all week. The humidity's been low. The teams have commented on it. We're playing on this beautiful ballpark with the backdrop of the mountains and the trees. We couldn't ask for anything better here. This place is incredible. It's beautiful. If you have not been here, whether it's for a travel ball select event, you have to get here to Lake Point to experience this ballpark. It's utterly amazing.
Back into the screen, 1-2 count. Right here as you start to make your way into the mountains of North Georgia, climbing out of the city in the major populous metroplex. We're still in the metroplex. It is Metro Atlanta. It's 29 counties after all across Metro Atlanta. A lot of people don't realize that. But now we're up around Allatoona Lake, Emerson, Cartersville ways, climbing up out of the metroplex and into a little more sparsely populated type areas, into the foothills of the mountains.
I can tell you, for those that have been with me and followed Travel Ball Select for the last few years, you know, we used to play this event at another complex in Central Georgia. This year we moved it out here to Lake Point. It's been a great move for us, been a great move for the fans, the teams, and everything. I couldn't be happier. The people here at Lake Point, the staff, they're just a pleasure to work with, and they're very accommodating on what we need and how things operate. You see out in the outfield, we have the temporary fencing up for the boys so they don't have to play on the big fields. and that's a big deal. We have that fencing set up at 200 feet here today for the 10-year-old division.
Cantu and Hucko in a good battle to start this ball game. Cantu, the center fielder for Texas. 2 for 3 in game 1 of the tournament today. In their previous elimination bracket ball game, a single and a double. Ground out, scored twice. Waits for a 3-2. Lefty winds and deals. And he shoots it in the right and pretty well struck. Moving back on it is McCain, and he watches it fly out of here. A 3-2 off-speed pitch that was hung right over the center of the plate. Cantu drives it out to right. And the Banditos continue their powerful hitting, their 4th home run of the day so far. 4th home run in 7 innings, I suppose. And now a 1-0 lead.
We talked about this in the first game. You know, we mentioned the fact that the Banditos, when they come to the plate, they're aggressive. They're swinging. If it's anywhere near the plate, they're going to take their hacks. This is a team that does not get cheated. As you'll see here on this replay, 3-2 pitch, and he stays back on it and drives the ball opposite field. Very nice.
Yep, off speed. Curved and got far too much of the plate.
He didn't try to pull it, which is impressive for a 10-year-old. Yep. He hit it where it was thrown and drove it out to right field. Nice job by that young man.
Hector Cadena now. Hector at short for Banditos from Texas, and boy, oh boy, has he been showing the slick fielding, his prowess in the hold today. Made 2, and you could argue 3 4-star type defensive plays in game 1 here today. That one caught him on the fist. He'll line it out to the third baseman. No problem for McGammon. And Cadena's down on a line out to the third baseman. First time today, as a matter of fact, that Hector's been retired, by the way. He was 3 for 3 in game 1. And himself double, a single, and a 2-run homer.
We talked about this a little bit in the first game, Chris. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
The Banditos are here with 9 players. So they're we've been referring to them all week up here in the tower as the Iron 9. There's no subs for that team, and so they're doing all this with 9 players.
Back to the pitcher. 1-3 ground out, 2 men gone.
Now batting for the Banditos, number 17, Noah Cepeda.
Here's Noah Cepeda. Noah started game 1 for the Banditos today. That elimination bracket ball game versus Florida. He drew the win in that affair. Had a big lead, got into a little bit of trouble. He gets in a little bit of trouble here as he's caught. That ball hit the knob of the bat. Now he'll head down to the first base bag. Earns first base the hard way.
We'll take another look at it here and see where it actually caught him. Oh, got him in the forearm. Home plate umpire Mike Ostermeyer was right on top of that. No doubt about it that he got him right there on the forearm. Mentioned Mike Ostermeyer is our home plate umpire. He's out of Dothan, Alabama. Our field guy is Daniel Clark out of Birmingham, Alabama.
So Cepeda now down at the first base bag. And here's Roman Martinez. Starting pitcher for game 1. The Banditos' day. Just now hit by a pitch. Earned the first base bag. And here's the starting pitcher for this ball game in Roman Martinez. Roman a 1 for 3. 1 for 3. First game of the day. Strikeout, line out. But he may have had the biggest blow of their first game today at the plate. A 3-run home run in the 3rd inning of that ball game. A 4-run 3rd inning. It put the space they needed in between themselves and the Kangaroo Court from Florida. Hucko looks in, gets a sign that he likes. The lefty brings home the 0-1, which is cut on and missed. 0-2 count. Cantu with a solo home run to start the ball game. Banditos lead 1-0. Then a line out and a ground out. And after an HBP, 2 men gone, 1 man on. Got him. Outside corner, called strike 3. First strikeout of the ball game for the left-hander. And that will be the first inning. But a leadoff home run gives Texas the early lead through a half inning in Metro Atlanta. Back inside the 10U 2019 National Championships for Travel Ball Select. A live look at the brackets here for 2019. Not completely updated. We had to Photoshop this thing. We had to work this in. Amy Walker, it took her 8 hours to get this plugged. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only saying that because our producer, director in charge of things, Amy Walker, standing right behind me. She's doing a great job as always. But you see there, Banditos of Texas defeated Kangaroo Court and moved into this matchup with SBA Futures of North Carolina. The winner advances on to the next ball game, as you see at 3 p.m. Top right-hand portion of your screen. Today at 3 p.m. here on Field 14, they will take on I Am Baseball. I Am Baseball from the state of Florida, the number 3 seed after pool play. So you're getting the top 3 teams. The top 3 teams after pool play are remaining in this tournament. Top 3 teams. SBA Futures was the number 1 team after pool play. Banditos 2, I Am Baseball 3.
And it just goes to show you how important pool play is. You get into a lot of tournaments, coaches, sometimes they disregard pool play, and you know, it doesn't matter to them. But clearly in this event you can see that being one of the top seeds and being that home team has a huge advantage. And we'll see if it plays out here today.
Whit McGammon to lead things off. And he takes a strike on the inside corner. He thought that Bender was going to catch him. He ducked out of the way of it, but ended up taking a strike. McGammon, the third baseman for the men from North Carolina, and they're white and red. Matty Carroll, the center fielder, going to hit second, and Tyler Newell's the shortstop. And he rounds out your guaranteed 3 in this bottom half of the first inning. Well, part of what I love about what you guys did with the bracket, by the way, everybody's going to get into a post-pool play bracket.
True.
You got your Challenge Cup, or are we calling it the
Challenge Cup?
We've got the Challenge Cup, and then we've got the Championship Cup. All 16 teams, all the teams going to make it to a bracketed play as McGammon is caught looking on strikes. 1 man gone to start the ball game, and here is the aforementioned center fielder for the Futures, Matty Carroll. But you didn't take everyone and put them in the Championship Cup. You took the top 8 teams after pool play. And I got to tell you something. You speak of other youth sports, not just baseball for that matter. But the fact that you didn't take all of the teams after pool play, all 16, and put them into the bracket together, I love that. I absolutely love it. Because what you're doing is you're giving the other teams a chance to win something, but you're rewarding the teams that finished in the top 8 with a chance to win a national championship and not have to maneuver through everyone. That's a foul ball down the left field line, 0-2 count.
And we had our coaches meeting for these guys. We brought them all in together on Monday night, and we sat them down and we talked about it. And not only the coaches meeting, but these guys knew all year long what the format was going to be like. And that's a big reason that they're actually here today for that. They love the format, right? It makes the pool games matter. These guys have to coach a little bit. With our pitching restrictions and our pitching rules in, how long do you leave your so-called number 1 starter out there? Because you know you're going to need him later in the tournament, but yet you need to secure wins early on in the tournament to make sure you would get in that top 8. So the coaches love it, the fans love it, and it makes for very, very good pool games early on in the tournament.
Alvar, I beg your pardon, no problem on the ground ball by Matty Carroll. He's retired 4-3 in your scorecard if you're keeping score with us.
So
Here's Tyler Newell.
So the way we had that set up, Chris, is everybody's going to play 2 pool games the first day and 2 pool games the second day. And what you found on that second day is those pool games had an elimination bracket feel to them, because if you didn't win those games, then you were dropping down to the Challenge Cup portion of the bracket, or if you did win, you were going on.
You get 2 1-2 teams playing each other. You know that 2 and 2 might get you in, but 1 and 3 will not.
1 and 3 did not get you in. Absolutely correct. So it made for some exciting pool games on day 2, and it had that bracket feel to it. So, this place was electric. I got to mention real quick, we have this game going on right here on field 14, but we're in a quad here, so there's 3 games going on right now behind us. We also have our 13-year-old championships going on right behind us, and we have 10-year-old Challenge Cup games and 13-year-old Challenge Cup games going on, so they're playing everywhere.
Swing and a miss. Newell is thrown out. That's part of, and that'll bring us to the end of the first inning. Let's elaborate on that a little bit more.
Sure.
This is part of what you love about youth sports, that you've got the entire complex all moving at once, all the machinations, all the motions all at once, and the championships are going to be decided. You guys are going to crown 3 national champions?
2 today. We've got
2 this weekend.
10s and 13s.
Right.
10s and 13s.
And then, of course, a couple of Challenge Cups as well, right?
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
And, of course, we will have the championship of the Challenge Cup coming up for you here on the broadcast at 11 a.m., 1 p.m. 1 p.m., I beg your pardon.
1 p.m.
Obviously, this is the 11 a.m. ball game.
And there you're
It's a bad sign if I'm already losing track of the time. It's not that long of a day today. But at 1 p.m., we'll have the Challenge Cup championship. Right now, we know the East Tennessee Braves will be into that championship. Do we know who they're taking on yet? I don't want to catch you on the spot here, but we know that Team 24 from the team from South Carolina is in the mix, and then the Mississippi Yankees and Mizuno Golden Spikes played this morning.
Yep, and the Golden Spikes advanced in that game, so they're taking on Team 24 right now. And I'm looking over my shoulder, and that game just started.
Right.
That game just started, so we're in the top of the first over there at 0-0.
We'll have the Challenge Cup championship coming up for you at 1 p.m. from Field 14 here on Facebook Live. But first things first, we'll need to get through this ball game. Whomever wins this ball game will get themselves a couple of hours to rest, recuperate, get a bite of lunch, and get ready for the national championships. Again, the winner of this one, well, the loser's out, first of all, of the national tournament. The winner advances on to the national championship in the 10U classification. It'll either be one of this, either North Carolina or Texas team, taking on a Florida squad. 1, 2, and 3 still remaining in the national championships as Bennett Schnee fouls one down the right field line and out of play. So he's behind 0-1 at the third base bag for Texas in this, their second game of today's action. Josh Flores is the left fielder. He'll be second. And then Brandon Flores is the second baseman. Actually, let's check that. Brendan Alvar is the second baseman, and he'll hit third in the inning. Bennett Schnee, Josh Flores, Brendan Alvar. Let's see. Yeah, we've got that correct. There we go.
So earlier in the broadcast, Chris, I mentioned the umpires that are doing our game today, and we neglected to mention the third member of the team.
Instant replay?
We have an instant replay. For those of you that missed the first game, we have incorporated instant replay for these games today. The replay officials, Dustin Manning, is up here in the tower with us, and if we have an opportunity to use instant replay, we'll come up here in the tower, and basically it's an NCAA modified replay. Every coach will have 2 challenges, and if they win both those challenges, we'll give them a third.
Fastball stays high and over the head of Josh Flores. Flores, the left fielder. So 2 challenges. And you say if they get both of them right, they'll get a third.
They'll get a third.
All right. We did see 1 challenge in our first game of the day. here on field 14. Flores 1 for 3 in that first game. Couple of ground outs and a single. Left fielder for the Banditos from Texas. 7-1 now on the week here in Metro Atlanta. 4-0 inside of pool play. 3-1 in bracketed play. Off the outside corner. And a 3-1 count.
And we had a challenge in the first game, and as it turned out, the umpires got the call correct.
Little cue shot off the end of the bat, trying to kick foul, but fielded wisely. Step on the bag. Good play by Talmadge
Now batting for the Banditos,
to collect out number 2.
1, Brandon.
It's been an offensive week in a good way for the Banditos. First the replay, then I'll dive into some numbers. 3 unassisted. 67-30 run differential for Texas. 67-30.
Yeah, the boys from Texas can swing the bats for sure, and they don't wait. You know, we talked about this in the first broadcast. They're aggressive when they come to the plate. They don't like to see a lot of pitches.
Well, a number of their coaches wearing team shirts down in what is now the visitors' dugout as these flip-flop. Shirts that on the back read, "See ball, hit ball."
Yeah,
That's refreshing, by the way. That's terribly old school for guys like you and me.
and it's pretty simple, right? See ball, hit ball, right?
I thought it was simple,
It
but
doesn't get any simpler than that.
but then as a broadcaster, I've become so inundated with statistics. Brandon Alvar with 2 men out, second baseman for Texas, down the right field line. That ball carrying foul and out of play. Alvar had a couple of hits here in game 1 of the Banditos. 2 games here today. 2 singles, 2 for 3. Eighth place man in the lineup. Hucko kicks and fires. A little out in front.
So as you can see right now from this at bat, he has swung at every pitch. Every pitch has been delivered to him. He's swung. He's fouled off a couple. But they are taught from day one that they're going to be aggressive.
Banditos with 18 runs in their last 2 ball games. 18 runs in their last 2 ball games.
And a lot of those come via the long ball.
Yes. Mark that. Let me update that. 19 runs in their last 2 ball games and 2 innings. Scored 10 against Remix Rip City from the state of Georgia. 8 against Florida in this last ball game here earlier today. And now, of course, 1 in this ball game. That one will carry foul as well. North Carolina have not been any worse offensively. They've been no slouch themselves, and we'll talk about the offensive prowess for the SBA futures from North Carolina here in just a few moments when they get their trip to the plate. Lefty deal, and that'll be the inning. Third strikeout of the ball game. 3 of the last 4 batters have been down on called strike threes, mind you. Bottom of the second coming up, 1-0. Back for the 2019 National Championships for Travel Ball Select in the 10U classification. We now take a look at the updated rankings into this week's championship play. And you see SBA Futures, the number 1 team in America, according to you, Rick Goff. Banditos, Texas, the number 2 team in America. They're playing in this ball game here today. Kennesaw Generals knocked out last night. Kangaroo Court knocked out today. Bravos, was it yesterday? They were knocked out. And then 3 big teams in the honorable mention. Give us some thoughts on these rankings. We'll come back and visit in just a second. Let's get the first pitch, which is poured across. Must have been high. That's going to be ball 1.
So yeah, with the rankings, we have a staff here that pores over a lot of data that goes on throughout the year. And back to what I said earlier about our conversation about when you're talking about youth rankings, it's really hard to kind of compare apples to apples because these teams cannot play each other during the spring. People are in school, parents work, and everything else. So the only time they really get to come together is in the summertime during big events like this.
Right.
So it's almost 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon, right? Everybody says it's 6 degrees, and that's kind of what you kind of have to do with these rankings with these teams. All right, this team beat this team, who beat this team, who beat this team, and you spend hours and hours of analyzing all of that, talking to coaches, talking to fans, talking to tournament directors, and ultimately this is what we come up with. We do it 3 times a year. We do a preseason, we do a mid-season, and then we do an end-of-the-year final rankings. So people are excited about it. They love seeing it. I get emails constantly and text messages saying, hey, you left us out of our rankings. We deserve to be in.
You don't have to tell me. Yep.
And even the teams that are in the rankings, hey, we should be higher.
Yep.
So can you guess on which team that we did not hear anything from? It would be
probably one of these 2 teams.
It would be the number 1 team, right?
Right.
The number 1 team doesn't have a complaint because they have nowhere to go but up. So.
Eli Webb was down on swinging strikes a moment ago, the catcher for SBA Futures. Here's John Ucko. Now with a 1-1 count. Man on the bump for SBA Futures of North Carolina. I'd love to get another look, if we can, here in just a moment, maybe after this out, at the rankings, if it was possible. Go back through some of these teams. Here in the Metro Atlanta area, for the radio station I work for, I put together our rankings of high school football here in the state of Georgia, and I don't need to tell any of you out there just how big high school football is here in the state of Georgia. I get the same thing you get.
Yeah.
Emails. Hey, why are we number 8 in the state? We should be number 5. And you say to yourself, well, it's 3 spots. You're worried about 3 spots.
Right.
It's going to work itself out when you get to the postseason, my friend. And I mean, I literally get those emails all the time. I'm sure you get something very, very similar. That was a real case, by the way. That was a real case I got last year. Hey, you've got us at number 8. We should be number 5. Well, okay. Left field. Looks like no problem for Flores. He's got it, and 2 men gone. F7. Let's take another look, if we could. Always great when the broadcaster directs the broad. They love that. Let me tell you. I apologize ahead of time. But the balance for these teams that you see highlighted in red, these are the teams that took part in this national championship this week. That's the real thing I wanted to point out. The teams that you were able to get in here for the national championships. 2, 4, 6, 8 teams of the top, what is that, about 27 or so.
Yeah, and I've heard from a large number of the teams in white that are already trying to make plans to come here next year. They saw what we did this weekend, not only with the tournament itself, but the complex and with the broadcasting that we do. So I've heard from probably about a half a dozen of those teams that were in white. They're like, hey, Rick, you know what? We want to make sure that we're there next year.
Yeah.
So keep us in mind, and we want to make that trip.
Brax Thompson at the plate now, second baseman for boys in red and white. It's always a great event. Always one of those dates as a broadcaster that I love to circle on the calendar. Make sure you keep the time open.
Absolutely.
It's a great event for a Father's Day weekend as well, to get the family out here. And, of course, it doesn't hurt you get to travel to Atlanta if you're out across the country. Oh, boy. Thompson dances out of the way of that one. Fastball that looks like it got away from the hurler, from the Banditos. So that, by the way, first base runner of the ball game as the first 5 men, I beg your pardon, were set down. by Roman Martinez. He allows his first base runner with 2 men gone in the bottom half of the second inning.
I want to one more comment about the rankings, Chris, is we really pride ourselves here at Travel Ball Select. A lot of organizations, when they rank teams, they rank them based on what they do inside the organization. And so with us, we don't care what organization you play in, whether, it's a USSSA event or an AAU event or, just your local, recreation tournament that you play in. We don't really care about that. So we want to take the whole thing as a whole and look at the overall body of work, not just one place. So, that'll reflect on those rankings that you have on there. We've got them from multiple states, New York all the way to California and Michigan down to Florida and everywhere in between. So we don't discriminate against anybody just because they don't play strictly Travel Ball Select.
Hayden Talmadge, the first baseman for SBA Futures with a pop-out, P5 to in the frame. We'll make our way to the third when we come back. John Ucko deals and fires a strike to start the inning. Banditos from Texas, the number 2 team in America, will start the inning with Colt Lozano, the right fielder, the 9th place man in the lineup, by the way. And then we'll get back to the top and Frankie Cantu and Hector Cadena. Oh, it squirts right over the glove of the first baseman. I think Talmadge got kind of caught in between there, didn't he?
Got his feet crossed up, and he wanted the drop step. Then he shuffled. We'll see here again on the replay. Oh, yeah, we didn't get it, but yeah, he got his feet crossed up, and he didn't get a good read on it.
So Lozano will collect his first hit of the ball game, a solid lash into right field.
It's a way to look in a book, right?
That's exactly right. I still just write single in the book. It doesn't matter how it got there, right?
You'd be amazed at the kids, especially the youth kids. They don't understand that. It's
doesn't matter.
I quote movie quotes all the time, and just one more dying quail, one more seeing eye single, and
just doesn't matter. Because you'll hit a line drive the next time you come to the plate that should have been a hit, and somebody will catch it.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of baseball. That is the beauty of baseball. Nick Markakis for the Atlanta Braves. We're here in Metro Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta guy. I pulled for the Braves. Nick Markakis went through a stretch where he was absolutely wrapping the baseball all around the yard. Runner going. Throw down to second. Sails into center field. Good job by the center fielder to back it up. Carroll to keep the runner at the second base bag. It's a stolen base for Lozano. But Markakis, he's wrapping the ball all around the yard. By the way, Nick Markakis has 2,500 hits in his career. Not for nothing.
Quietly.
2,200 hits, something like that, yeah.
Quietly.
But anyway, couldn't buy a base hit. Now, over the last week, he's hit 3 little duck snorts out in the outfield that have found a home and delivered him a couple of base hits, 3 base hits. So that's the beauty of baseball, isn't it? It all evens out, or it seems to, in the end.
Well, and a big thing at the youth level, we've got these fences set at 200 feet. You could hit a ball 190 feet in the gap, and it'll be an out, and you can hit one 4 feet in front of the plate and get a hit.
Yeah. Frankie Cantu, speaking of deep drives, hit a solo home run to start the ball game today as the first batter of the affair. That the lone tally for either club in this ball game. 1 run, 2 hits, and no errors for Texas. Meanwhile, zeros across the board for North Carolina. Might have him hung up. Oh, and the throw goes into center field, allowing the runner to get to the third base bag, and that'll be about it.
They had him picked off.
Got to be the first error of the ball game. Lozano will reach the third base bag on an E1. 2-1 count. Behind him. Did not hit him. Well, defense kind of froze there for a moment. I think behind the plate, Webb kind of froze for a moment because he thought he had been hit. Hucko did not get down to the plate or come down to the plate. Might not have mattered. In the interest of full disclosure, it might not have mattered, but the run does come across to score, and it's 2-0 Texas, and that'll prompt a meeting on the mound. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you think it even would have mattered?
No, I don't think it would have mattered. You know, the backstop here, we're playing on big field, so the backstop's probably a little bit deeper than these kids are used to playing on a normal day. But, you know, whether it was a high school game or a 10-year-old game, that ball gets past the catcher, and that run from third is traditionally going to score. This is a great visit by Travis here. You know, a couple of errors, or, you know, the error at second base and then the wild pitch. And so now he just wants to go out there and talk to his pitcher and say, hey, you know what, we got to regroup, and let's get back to work here. So it's a great visit by Travis.
That young man has pitched well today. Left one ball over the plate, and it was scalded. How big is that pop-up at first base now, by the way? Here's the walk to Cantu. So
You know, Chris, I'm looking at the defensive alignment for SBA, and I'm looking at their outfielders, and they are all playing at the fence.
Yeah, that's wild. I did not notice that. That's absolutely wild. In fact, Cunningham in left cannot take a full step back without running into the wall right now. Well, you're absolutely right. Lefty deals. This one popped up. Cunningham has no problem coming in on the ball. He'll make that catch in left field.
Well,
so one man out, runner at first.
It looks like Travis is taking the approach of it's easier to come in than it is to go back. So he's going to have his kids play back on the fence and allow them to come in and make the plays like that.
So Hector Cadena retired on the fly ball to left field. And here's Troy Gonzalez. Gonzalez behind the dish for Banditos. This elimination bracket ball game. Troy a ground out, pitcher to first. In his only other plate appearance. Pitch out, nothing doing.
I'm trying to figure out if the young man at first base put his shoes on in the dark this morning before he left. Does he realize he has two different color shoes on, or it's got to be on purpose, right?
You let that fly the first time I mentioned
did.
it back in game one, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That's Cantu, and they've got him hung up, potentially. Throw down to second, the tag, a beautiful one, and they've got him. Now, that was a great throw by Talmadge, by the way, down to the second base bag where the shortstop Newell was covering, and they're able to retire the aforementioned Frankie Cantu. We'll get another look.
Yeah, they threw over to first base. Cantu was a little impatient. They threw over a couple of times, and Cantu did a nice job. In that situation, you're supposed to just run. Don't get in a rundown. Rundowns never end well. You're always going to. So your best option is just to run through, try to just outbeat the throw there, but
Force a bad throw.
force a bad throw. First baseman did a great job coming off the bag, receiving the ball, giving himself an angle to throw to second base. That was a great job all the way around.
The fact that Talmadge is a left-hander helped as well on the angle of the throw.
Listen, my philosophy is no matter what a left-hander does in life, they cheat, right? Whether you're a pitcher, a bowler, first baseman, they all cheat. I say that because I'm not left-handed, right?
You don't trust the southpaws. I get it.
I tell every time when I was coaching back in my day, every time there was a left-hander on the mound, I said he balked every time. I mean, that was just that's what he did. If he picked me off, it had to be a balk.
I've got no choice but to change my thought on that, my friend. My wife and my oldest son, both lefties. Right center field, and that ball headed for the gap and to the wall. In fact, it's going to kick off the wall, but hit so hard, and such a great job by the center fielder, Carroll, to get over there. Troy Gonzalez is held to a long, hard-hit single. And Troy will check out for a courtesy runner, by the way.
Yeah, I thought that had a shot to leave when it went off the bat. I thought it had a shot to get out of here, but it landed right at the base of the fence. And nice job of the outfielders holding him to a single.
Cantu going to come in and courtesy run for him. Frankie Cantu now down at the first base bag.
Let's see if Cantu's going to be impatient again, see if he takes off again.
Lefty kicks and fires. Fastball misses just off the inside corner to Noah Cepeda. Noah hit by a pitch his first time up.
Hucko has great mound presence. Just watch how he keeps the deception between the runner, gives him a small look to freeze him, and comes to the plate. Great mound presence by the young man.
And a gorgeous off-speed pitch that dropped right over the heart of the plate, right underneath the swing of Cepeda. 2-0, third inning. This is already a big at-bat. Early on in this ball game, a big moment. Futures offense yet to get going in this ball game. They've not allowed a lot of runs so far in this week of play at the National Championships. In 7 games, they've allowed just 20 runs total. Have the boys from North Carolina, so just less than 3 runs per ball game. That is quite a staggering defensive and pitching number, quite frankly. When you're talking about all these, well, first of all, youth baseball, aluminum bats, even with the dampening, a week of play, 7 games, great teams, unbelievable hitting teams. To allow fewer than 3 runs per ball game is really quite a staggering number.
Yeah, that's a great number for Travis and the boys to put up this week. It speaks to their pitching, speaks to their defense. You know, great job all around by those guys, and you know, making sure that the runs allowed is actually what got them the number 1 seed.
Right.
We had
6.
Yep, 6 runs in the first 4 pool games, and that's the tiebreaker when it came to the Banditos and the number 3 seed with IM baseball and stuff like that. They all went undefeated in pool play, and how you break that tie is, all right, who gave up the least amount of runs. And in this case, it's the Futures, and it's paying off for them now because now they're the home team today.
I love that you use that as one of the tiebreakers. And I tell you what, we'll talk about that when we come back. We'll also talk about that aforementioned promised offensive prowess. We'll dive into the numbers for SBA Futures of North Carolina and how good they've been offensively this week as they trail 2-0 to the third. Will Parrish to lead things off in the home half of the third inning. SBS Futures. SBA Futures, I beg your pardon. That's what I get for reading while talking. It never worked out well for me. The boys from North Carolina trail 2-0 as they come to the plate here in the bottom half of the third inning. Roman Martinez on the mound for Banditos from Texas, trying to hold on to this 2-0 lead. The Futures from North Carolina been so very good this week. 4-0 inside of group play, pool play. 32-6 they outscored their opponents. So far in bracketed play, 2-1, where they've outscored their opponents 30-14. So 62-20 they've outscored their opponents in 7 ball games. And we can talk about both of these topics at the same time. They really dovetail nicely into each other, Rick. Alongside Rick Goff, National Director for TravelBall Select, I'm Chris Mooneyham. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. A strikeout swinging of Will Parrish. 1 man gone in the third. I love the fact that you guys use the run against as a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
As to keep teams from running up the score. It promotes good defense. It promotes the fine pitching staffs. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our first tiebreaker naturally is overall record. I mean, that goes without saying. But to break those ties after that, we go to the runs allowed because we do want to promote defense. This is high-level baseball. We want to promote that type of things. And one of the tiebreakers that we don't use is we don't use runs scored. We don't want teams out here running scores on up anybody. Not that you would have it in this type of an event because our scores have been fairly close in all the games. But you get into some events that do the run scored, which basically tells the other team, hey, you get a team that maybe not be of equal caliber, of equal quality, and it causes teams to run up score, which in turn causes bad feelings between the coaches, the parents, and everything else. So we don't do anything with runs scored. Everything is runs allowed. And then what we call run differential is what's the difference between the winning and the losing score of that game. So, for example, in this game right here, you got the Banditos up 2-0. If that ended up being the final score, the Banditos would be a +2 and SBA would be a -2 in a run differential.
And then you guys, you cap it, the run differential, because some of the blowouts will have a mercy rule just every once in a while.
Correct.
Cap that at 8?
We cap it at 8. And again, that's just not to promote anybody running up the score. So beating a team, 10-2 at a cap of 8 is doesn't benefit you any more than beating a team 17-0. So, we try to do the best we can to kind of keep it competitive and keep the tempers at a low rate there.
After the strikeout of Will Parrish swinging to start the inning, Ryan Cunningham, the left fielder, is now drawn a base on balls. So he's down at the first base bag with 1 man gone. And Griff McCain, the right fielder, to the plate. McCain, a ground ball down to second. Got a chance to turn it. There's one. And McCain able to beat it out, stay out of the double play. He hits into a 4-3 force. Fielder's choice, if you like.
If we get a replay in this, guys, watch the feet work. This is incredible by the second baseman. Gets his feet set, feeds the shortstop who gets out of the way of the slide, and just misses him at first base by a step. I mean, that's impressive for 10-year-olds.
I think it's important to emphasize that, to continue to emphasize that. 10-year-olds. Whit McGammon now back at the top of the lineup. McGammon caught looking on strikes to start the offensive day for the Futures, the SBA Futures of North Carolina. #1 team in America. Runner going. Throw down to second, and he swiped it.
He stole that on the pitcher. He was 3 or 4 steps down the line before, watch this on the replay. He's already down the line before the pitcher delivers the home plate. That's a smart base runner right there. That's from him reading and picking up little cues from the pitcher.
Out of the slide step, by the way, is Roman. A little bit of a mishandle, throw down to first. They'll get the final out of the inning and keep us at 2-0. McGammon retired on a 4-3 ground out. That'll bring us to the end of 3 in Metro Atlanta, a 2-0 ball game. And it's been a great week of weather, but it's been a great week of play as well in the first ever Travel Ball Select National Championships here in Emerson, Georgia. That one stays high, and Bennett Schnee has worked himself a one-out walk. Speaking of which, I know that you had something you wanted to talk about. Get off your chest here and gloat for a moment on this amazing week here at Lake Point.
Yeah, and it's about the complex in general. The Lake Point complex. If you haven't been out here, you've got to come out and experience this. Whether you're a youth team, a high school team, and the tenants out here is Prep Baseball Report, and I have partnered with them in order to run these events out here at Lake Point.
2 men on, 1 man out. Josh Flores going to work his way onto the base pads. With a little cue shot, got sawed off, caught it on the handle.
So what we talked about, right?
Yeah, but still able to hit it just enough to where he was able to have enough time. Third baseman not able to get it in time, and now he's on. This is a critical moment in this ball game. We're in the top of the fourth. Remember, 6 innings scheduled. Top of the fourth, already 2-0, and the Banditos threatening.
So the Prep Baseball Report and Travel Ball Select has come together to put these events on here. And we've recently come to an agreement here for the next couple of years to have the event out here. So, I am very proud and very fortunate to be able to call this home for the next couple of years for Travel Ball Select. And Prep Baseball Report is a high school organization that follows high school kids and players and on to the college levels and everything else. And they're a scouting service as well. And joining us today is a big member of that team from Prep Baseball Report is Kyle Coletta. Kyle, thanks for joining us today.
Kyle, make sure you pull that mic up just a little bit further. Oh, we actually cannot. Give me 1 second.
Yep.
We're going to get this mic figured out in just a second. We might have to catch up with him next inning. 2 men on, 1 man out, 2-1 count. Martinez with a line out, a hard hit ball. Schnee with a walk. He's now at second. Flores with a little grounder. He reached first on the infield single. Brandon Alvar at the plate. Strikeout victim his first time up. Pops this one fouling out of play. Count even at 2s. Yeah, we'll have to get with Kyle next inning to get our technical difficulties worked out here. 3-2 count. Still doesn't take away from your point. It's been a great week.
No, it's been a great week.
A great partnership, right?
Oh, it's a great partnership. In working with Sean Duncan and Matt Yarber and Kyle Coletta. I'll tell you a quick story. When I run these events, Chris, I'm here from first pitch until the time the last out is made. And I thought I was unique in that type of dedication to what we do, until I met Kyle. And Kyle is just as hard as worker as I am, and puts in the time and the effort. And I didn't think I'd run into somebody that had that type of dedication. So, working with Matt Yarber and again Sean Duncan and Kyle out here at the Lake Point Sports Complex has been a huge addition for Travel Ball Select, and the things that we do out here, the cooperation and the commitment that we get from everybody out here, and it extends to the staff too. I mean, it's unbelievable when you work with such great people, how much easier your job is on a day-to-day basis, how much easier your life becomes dealing with all that.
Don't look now. John Hucko is doing everything he can to get out of this inning. Got a strikeout swinging of Alvar. Now quickly ahead 0-2 on Colt Lozano. And he's got him as well. This time a called strike 3. Hucko gets out of the inning. After 2 men reach with 1 man out, a couple of strikeouts, and that'll take us to the end of the frame. Back at the Lake Point Sports Complex in Metro Atlanta. To the bottom half of the fourth inning, a 2-0 ball game. Right now, Roman Martinez is spinning a dandy. He's got Matty Carroll, Tyler Newell, and Eli Webb as the scheduled 3 in the inning. Matty Carroll, a ground out 4-3 in his only other plate appearance. That ground out to second was in the second inning. Then a couple of guys with strikeouts on their tally sheet, Newell and Webb, to follow. Kick and fire. A strike to make it 2-1. Martinez into the at-bat. So continue your thought from last inning. This partnership between Travel Ball Select and Lake Point and PBR, the Prep Baseball Report. It's been a great early marriage.
It has. It's exceeded my expectations, and I can't speak for Prep Baseball Report, but it's been on behalf of my side. It's been great. I think we have the technical issues fixed, and we have joined by Kyle Coletta with Prep Baseball Report. Kyle, can we hear you?
I think we're good now.
Yeah, we're good now. So thanks for joining us, and tell us a little bit about Prep Baseball Report.
Yeah, so, like you mentioned earlier, started out as a recruiting and scouting service and still hold true to that and stick to our roots with that. But, started that probably 11 years ago, and I've seen it kind of start from a small little complex on the north side of Chicago to our headquarters now on the south side, and obviously to growing what it is today. And an instrumental part of that is getting into Lake Point. So, and then now kind of just getting into the tournament side of things, which is a little bit newer for us, but that's kind of the growth of the company.
3-2 off the outside corner, and so Matty Carroll going to be on board as the leadoff batter and the leadoff runner in the fourth. We all know about leadoff runners getting on base to start innings. Third walk of the ball game for Martinez, only the third man to reach.
So, Kyle, this is your first year down in the market down here, and how's the reception been down here for Prep Baseball Report?
It's been really good. The feedback that we've gotten from coaches, parents, and players has been really positive. For us being on the ground level and kind of getting that feedback is huge for us, just because we're not going to do everything perfect, especially in the first year here. So to get that feedback and be able to improve as we kind of get into our full swing of things, as we get into the fall is incredibly important for us.
What's the motto? You guys have a motto, something about boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. I did not come up with that, but I think it's something that we've all adopted and we really hold true to us and what we do on a day-to-day basis. Getting on the ground level and seeing as many players as we can, whether it's in the spring or the summer or the fall, and actually going out to games. The boots on the ground motto is something that we hold true to.
Eli Webb now at the plate. You saw just a moment ago Tyler Newell broke up the no-hitter.
And who do we blame for that?
Well, look, as broadcasters, we have to talk about it. Carroll with a walk, Newell with a single. It's only if it's your team that you don't talk about it, right? Ground ball down to second. Got a chance to get a force at the second base bag, and the throw gets away, heads into left field and down the line. The seal has been broken on the shutout as well. It's 2-1, and runners are at second and third. Still nobody out.
Boy, this shows you how quickly a game can change in just a matter of just a couple of pitches. We went from a no-hitter through 3 innings to now we give up a hit, and now we give up a run. Nobody out. Runners at second and third, and this could be a big inning for SBA right here.
That's going to be a fielder's choice, and then E4 to allow the run to score. Webb's going to reach because it was the fielder's choice, but of course he'll reach. Or the runners will advance with the air, the run will score with the air. Here's John Hutko now. Young man on the mound with a chance to potentially tie the ball game up or give his team the lead. 2-1. Now in the bottom half of the fourth inning, and this North Carolina offense has all of a sudden come to life.
Yeah, it looks like here comes a mound visit by Coach Kadeen. It's a good time here. He wants to make sure that everything's in play on what they're going to do when the balls hit where. If we noticed right before that pitch, he has chose to bring the corners in. He's kept the middle infielders back. He's going to take the out and give up the run. Anything hit to the middle of the park, but anything to the corners, if it's hit hard enough, they're going to go for the play at the plate here.
And you can afford to do that when you're the Banditos from Texas, and your offense has been hitting the way that it has.
And Chris, that's a great point. That definitely comes into his decision making here. He has to believe in his boys and what they've been able to do all week at the plate, and he's got to believe that it continues. So that definitely goes into his factor and his decision on how he wants to play this.
One more about the old adage of the grand old game: leadoff runners.
Once again, again.
The leadoff man gets aboard. We talked about momentum in youth baseball. That's another thing about youth baseball. You think leadoff runners get on base in the big leagues and come around to score often? Boy, oh boy, when you get into prep baseball, how many times do you see the leadoff man get on base and then come around to score, especially in like a 10U classification?
It happens all the time, and I think being with Rick this spring and seeing how the game shift a little bit quicker on the U side. That leadoff guy gets on, and you see they're going to score a majority of the time.
Hucko with an 0-2 count, Rick.
Yeah, it looks like they've brought the middle infielders, too, about halfway. So anything hard hit to one of them, it looks like they're going to try to come to the plate. If it's something soft in the middle, they're going to take the out. But that was what the purpose of that visit was. He wanted to make sure all of his infielders knew exactly what he wanted on certain situations here. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out here.
Here's the little guy, Brax Thompson. Thompson, the second baseman for North Carolina. Needs a ground ball and does it.
There it is.
The throw to the plate, a one-hopper, not in time. Wait a minute now.
What?
Did I miss a safe call, Rick?
I think what he was doing, Chris, I think he was pointing to the plate that the ball,
right.
It's actually pointing to the ball if the ball was on the
Yes,
ground.
Thank you. 2-2
he was
ball
pointing
game.
the ball was on the ground, so the run does score.
The run does score.
Watch this right here, though. I mean, got exactly what he wanted. The ground ball to the third baseman and just a low throw. I tell kids all the time, just make the easy throw on that, and then everything's going to work out. You can see it right here. He kind of spikes it into the ground, short hops it to the catcher.
Yeah. He gunned it in there as well, and he really could have almost soft-tossed it and had enough time.
But he was trying to make the perfect throw. He wanted to put the ball right on the bag. All he's got to do, if he throws it to his chest high, let the catcher do his job.
And I hate to say it, but that's got to be an E5.
Fielder's
choice E5,
That's got to be an E5.
So Thompson will reach. Runners at second and third on the play by the time it's all wound down. 2 runs have scored. Looks like a third's coming to the plate. And North Carolina has taken a 3-2 lead. Hayden Talmadge with an RBI ground out. And we'll get another look. Good play at second, by the way.
Oh, that's a great
Alpine.
play. That saves a run. If that ball gets through, the run at second scores, and now the Banditos will be looking at a 2-run deficit as opposed to 1. 2 outs. Now they get an out here, and they'll go into the top half just trailing by 1. So a great play by the young man at second base.
And here's Will Parrish. Parrish with a little bit of pop in his bat. Don't be surprised. Martinez kicks and fires. A strike to start.
Kyle, you played some college baseball, didn't you? What position did you play?
I played shortstop, and I pitched as well.
So what did you think about the play by the young man at second base? I thought he took a good angle.
Very good route, set his feet, made a good throw over there. When that type of stuff happens, you make a great play. The biggest thing is just kind of slow everything down and finish it.
To right, not terribly deep, 2 men out, and that will be the inning. We'll keep it here, give you guys another chance to continue this conversation about the relationship between the two companies, but 3-2 the score. As we now make our way to the top half of the 5th inning, a brand new ball game. SBA Futures from North Carolina, the #1 team in the nation, has scored 3 in the frame to take a 1-run lead on the #2 team in the nation, the Banditos from Texas. I'll step aside just for a moment, let you guys continue on the conversation. We'll get back to action in the 5th here in just a moment.
So Kyle, I talked about TravelBall Select's relationship with Lake Point and everything out here. Speak about Prep Baseball Report. This is their first year in here. Mm-hmm. They come in here and started taking over the games in the complex here. How's the relationship between you and Lake Point? And when I say you, I mean Prep Baseball Report.
Right. Yeah, it's been fantastic. The second that we got in here, we felt extremely welcomed. It's been a two-way street. The biggest thing for us is feedback is mutual. If we have something that we want improvements on or something that's going well, we let them know, and vice versa. If they feel like that we could be doing a better job, they let us know, and we try to do the best we can to keep improving.
Some of the comments that I got from the 13-year-old division, because we have the 13-year-old national championships going on. They're playing on the regulation fields over there, and you guys installed TrackMan,
Right.
TrackMan this year, and we're able to use it on the regulation fields. We're not able to use it on the youth fields because of the size of the pitching mound. But how's TrackMan working for you guys?
Yeah, it's been great for us as a scouting service and doing some recruitment stuff and helping kids, kind of further develop their careers. TrackMan has been huge to kind of, as the game is progressing and things are going to more analytical side of things, we can kind of dig in deep, and obviously have that eye test. Hold on, we got a
Cantu!
bomb.
Frankie Cantu has hit his second home run of the ball game, and just like that, the Banditos from Texas have evened the ball game at 3-3. His second home run of the ball game, the fifth of the day
Yeah,
for the Texas men.
I'd like to see his exit velo on that one, which is something that TrackMan does for us. So
Let's take another look.
Again, Chris, you're seeing first pitch, right? We've talked about that now for 2 games. The Banditos are aggressive at the plate, and the pitcher trying to get ahead. His team just scored, take the lead. So his mindset is come out there, I'm going to get ahead of the hitter. But I'm telling you, you need to change that mindset when you're pitching to the Banditos, because they like jumping on that first pitch.
Guys, Frankie Cantu is making a bid for player of the day. He's got 4 hits today. He's 4 for 5 with 2 home runs, a single, and a double. He's scored 4 times, driven into, and has a walk. A pop up at second. The call and the catch made by Thompson. 1 man gone. That was Hector Cedena, who's retired. And that'll get us to Troy Gonzalez, the catcher.
That's not a bad day for Cantu, is it?
Not too bad.
No.
Not too bad.
What was his out?
A 5-3 ground out. And you know what's ironic about, and again, we talk about the ebbs and flows of baseball. He was the leadoff man retired in that powerful 3rd inning that they had where they scored 4 runs, the decisive inning against Florida in the last ball game. Fouled away, and quickly an 0-2 count.
And you know what, Kyle, you can kind of speak on that playing college baseball. When you're in that zone, how big does that ball look?
Oh, it looks like a beach ball. But then, on the flip side, it happens pretty quickly in this game. It looks like you're hitting a golf ball, 3 days later. So, a kid like that, stay locked in and keep swinging the bat, and good things are going to continue to happen.
Take advantage of it while you can, right?
Oh, absolutely. Get greedy.
Get greedy. You want to get up that plate as many times as you can when you're swinging the bat
That's
that
right.
hot, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works out, especially at the youth all levels. I'm sure major leaguers are that way too.
Back into the screen, stay alive 0-2. Gonzalez, a 1 for 2 days so far. He singled back in the 3rd. Grounded out pitcher to first. As the 3rd batter of the ball game. Where'd you play your college ball at?
I play at Northern Kentucky, about 10 miles south of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So have some Cincinnati teams here at the park this weekend, so it's nice to kind of talk to those guys about the city and see some people from my second home.
Smoked into center field, no problem there for Carroll. 2 men gone.
Let me ask you this, Kyle. How big are you a superstitious guy?
I am, very much so.
So when you were hitting and everything was going right, did you same uniform, same socks, same everything? I mean,
yeah, we're doing the same thing every time. May not even watch the uniform. Teammates stay away from you, just based off of that. So no, you do everything the same, and that's kind of a funny part of the game, and I think it's carried down, and into the youth level. Kids are superstitious as well. So it's
can
cool
you
to
imagine
see.
a 10-year-old telling his mom, "Don't wash my
Yeah,
uniform"?
I know, right? Yeah.
Hey, we got turf. It can't be that dirty.
Noah Cepeda to the plate, hit by a pitch in the 1st, a strikeout victim in the 3rd.
I don't think we're worried about it being dirty. I think it's just about the way it smells, right?
Yeah.
I think
Well, a
that's-
10-year-old, you're starting to make that turn, right?
We can overlook that.
right.
Well, very, very superstitious guy. Were you very superstitious?
No, not so much to where it was an extreme, but it's definitely always in the back of your head.
You
I think
weren't Wade Boggs. You know about Wade Boggs and his. I'm dating myself.
No, it's
now,
before
look.
the time, but yeah, no, I know.
Bucket
I know
of
about
chicken.
It, so
Before every
yep.
ball game, he would buy.
I
Now he
had-
wouldn't eat
Did
the
he really?
entire bucket of. Yeah. Now
didn't
he
know
wouldn't
that.
eat the entire bucket of chicken, but he would buy a bucket of chicken. He'd eat 4 or 5 pieces out of it.
Yep, I'd do something similar. I'd go sushi or not eat at all.
It can't be as bad as Turk Wendell. If you remember Turk Wendell, he would eat licorice during the inning, and then literally he would brush his teeth in the dugout or in the tunnel in between innings when he would come in out of the bullpen in relief. We got ourselves a 3-3 ball game, folks. It's fitting. We head to the bottom of the fifth between the number 1 and the number 2 teams in America, tied at 3. Ryan Cunningham, Griff McCain, and then back to the top of the order and Whit McDammon. At your scheduled 3 in the home half of the 5th inning, starting to get late. Well, real late, as a matter of fact. For those of you tuning in, the uninitiated out there, this is basically the equivalent of a Major League Baseball game. Bottom of the 8th inning. This is the bottom of the 5th inning. These two teams at the 10U classification only scheduled for 6 innings. The Travel Ball Select National Championships. This is an elimination bracket ball game. One of these two teams will be headed home for the week after this affair. And it's a star-studded affair. Again, for those of you maybe just tuning in, back alongside Rick Goff, I'm Chris Mooneyham. Thanks for tuning in. Rick Goff, the executive director of the Travel Ball Select. Me, I'm just a talking head. Number 1 versus number 2. North Carolina, the number 1 team in America, taking on the number 2 ranked Texas squad. Banditos from Texas. SBA Futures from North Carolina. Swing and a miss. And Ryan Cunningham is staring at a 3-2 count. Winner of this one on to the national championship game where they will take on Florida's own I Am Baseball program. Ends up as a base on balls for Ryan Cunningham. So Ryan on each time today, both with walks. And we take a look at the 10U bracket. There it is. Winner of this one moves on to the championship at roughly 3 p.m. here on Field 14 against that Florida squad.
Correct.
I Am Baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, this matchup is everything that we were hoping for with number 1 versus number 2. You know, we're late innings. We're in a 3-3 ball game. And, you know, we couldn't be happier with how this game's turning out here.
Griff McCain now. 10th place man in the lineup.
And we have ourselves in a situation, too. The leadoff runner now is on base.
Yep. In at third. Watching for the potential sacrifice. You won't need it now.
It looks like he might have got crossed up there a little bit. It looks like the catcher might have been expecting one thing, and the pitcher threw something totally different.
Gonzalez a little late to move in on it. His glove, I mean. Martinez put it off the inside corner. 2-0 count. And he still sacrifices. And
Great
it is
job.
an absolute beauty. And he may have beaten it out, and he did. So it goes
Well,
from a sacrifice to an infield hit.
That's given the best of both worlds right there. I mean, he lays the bunt down. He lays the bunt down, gets it down the line, and he's just trying to move the runner over. Getting the base hit is a bonus, really.
Yeah.
Wow, the pitcher did everything right. He fielded it cleanly, got up on there.
You read my mind. I was
Yeah.
just about to say the same exact thing. There's just nothing that Roman can do in that instance.
And it looks like Coach Adina is going to challenge the call at first base. So we have a challenge here. The umpire is going to make his way up to the tower, and we're going to take a look at it on an instant replay up here.
They'll see the same replays that you're seeing at home or wherever you may be joining us, and thanks for doing just that on Facebook Live. A gorgeous bunt, great job of fielding it, and that is an absolute, that's the very definition of bang bang at the first base bag.
Yeah, I glad I'm not the replay guy here taking a look at that one.
This will be very, very close. Question is, can they actually overturn the call on the field? That is, of course, the crux of all of these conversations, whether it be the National Football League, Major League Baseball, college baseball, or, of course, here at the 10U National Championships. Conclusive. Is this replay conclusive enough to overturn the call on the field? I gotta think that he's safe, Rick, because his body's already bending. We see when ball hits glove.
Yeah.
We don't have the full body of the base runner, Griffin McCain, but you can see through pure analysis that McCain's body is already bending from the impact of the bag. I gotta think he's safe.
Yeah, I gotta believe. I think this call is going to stand, just because there's not conclusive evidence to overturn it, and that's what we're looking for when we do these types of things. You got to have conclusive evidence in order to overturn it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Not only do I not think it'll be overturned because we don't see anything to overturn the call, but I think he may be safe just the same.
Yeah, and I gotta believe it's we're going to use the same language as they use in the in the professional ranks. It's gonna stand, or it's going to be confirmed, and so that's the language that we're going to look for when he goes back to the field, and we'll get a ruling on it. Well, we can tell you, if you look at the dugouts, the SBA kids are saying safe, the Bandito kids are saying out, so.
You also start to see.
Here he comes. Let's see what we got. Calls him safe. Yep.
That's big.
Yep.
That is very, very big in a 3-3 ball game in the bottom of the fifth inning. Between number 1 and number 2, the potential lead run now down at third base with nobody out.
And we just got word that the call stood is the word that we got from the replay official, that the call stood, which means there wasn't enough evidence to overturn the call. There wasn't a clear view of it, so the call stands as called.
So it was a walk to Cunningham, an infield hit by McCain, and McCain is now swiping the second base bag to take away a force. So 2 men in scoring position now, with Whit McGammon at the plate. Whit, a strikeout victim, caught looking to start the ball game. He grounded out to the second baseman and was retired to end the third. And he hits one right back up the box. They'll look at the runners. They got 2 men hung up at third. They don't realize it at first. They get the force at first. They'll throw down to third, the tag applied, and they'll say he's safe. Unbelievable. The runner at third and at second both end up back at their original bags and safe. And McGammon is retired on a ho-hum 1-3 ground out.
Yeah, that could have got ugly real quick. The shortstop did his job, looked him back to the bag, and froze the runner.
6-3 ground out, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think I said 1-3, but obviously I meant shortstop to first.
Yep. Yeah, and play to the first baseman. The first baseman threw it home. And it looks like Coach Godina is going to use his second challenge here on the throw back to third baseman. He's only allowed 2 per game. He's already lost his first one. So this is going to be his last challenge regardless of the outcome of this play. But, I can't I think this is a good challenge. You can't take them home with you.
Right.
So
right.
You might as well use them. You already know that you can't challenge any more than you because you lost your first one. So they're going to take a look at this here and see if we got an angle on the play it back at third.
One other thing, by the way, the runners do not overlap each other. Heard somebody mention that here just a moment ago inside the press box. These guys did not overlap each other as they both were at the third base bag for just a split second. Here's the play in question. Boy, oh boy, this is going to be close, Rick. Is it conclusive enough? That's the other thing.
Boy, you just can't see the bag from this angle. You can't see his hand in on the bag. Using the replay is a great tool for us, but unfortunately we don't have 37 camera angles
right.
like we do in Major League Baseball. So we have to work with what we got. And based on that replay that I've seen there, without being able to see the bag and everything else, I don't see how they changed this call.
So for the moment, runners at second and third and one man out. McGambin hit a ground ball down to the shortstop. Cadena looked back the runner. That was Cunningham at third. He retreated back to the third base bag. But behind Cadena, as he was getting ready to throw down to the first base bag, McCain did not realize that the runner Cunningham at third was holding up. He too was coming to the trying to advance. He was coming to the third base bag. So you had two men retreating back to the third base bag, all in one fell swoop. McCain then dives back into, Cunningham dives into third while McCain retreated back to the second base bag. And what you found was that McGammon was retired on a 6-3 ground out. That was a wild play that turned out to work out for North Carolina. In fact, it was good for both teams for all intents and purposes, as Texas was able to accrue an out.
And I think that one's got to stand just because they just did not have a different angle.
Yep.
And you can't too. And we told both coaches, before the game started, we explained to them how this is going to work. If we don't have a clear and decisive angle from it, we have to go with the angles that we do have and make the call based on that.
Infield in. Little cue shot, and that'll cost him. It'll fall in for a base hit, scoring one. Wave the second man to the plate. One hopper, and he's safe. 2 RBI single. Matty Carroll gives SBA Futures of North Carolina, the #1 team in America, a 2-run lead and 3 outs away from the national championship game.
Heads up base running here by Carroll is when the ball goes through the catcher. Most kids at the youth level just stay put at first base there, and they're happy with the job that they did. But Carroll took off to second base and now gets himself in scoring position.
Especially while wanting to celebrate what could be the biggest hit of the season for your club. So Carroll drives in 2. Runs scored for Cunningham and McCain. And this one lined into center field, falling for a base hit. They're going to wave Carroll and now hold him up at the third base bag. Coach going with the old wave and the shout to stop.
You always want to draw that throw.
Right.
So, you have special language, and sometimes it's just simple as hand signals, but a lot of times when I was coaching, I used verbal signals for that. Where I'm waving the arm and everything else, but I verbalize to the runner to stay to draw that throw, because you never know. That throw could get away from the catcher, could sail over his head. Anything can happen there, and you also are trying to do that so the kid at first base gets down to second base as well. Now we're going to have to watch out here, see if the runner gets caught in a rundown.
Yep, he's trying to steal second base is Tyler Newell, and he's got it swiped. So there goes the force at the second base bag. Eli Webb's at the plate, by the way, and 0 for 2 days so far. 2 men in scoring position. A base hit here would be paramount to this ball game. Ground ball foul. Big difference between 6-3 or 7-3 as opposed to 5-3. Statistically, I mean.
Oh,
your
huge.
chances of coming back from 5-3 down far, far better than 6-3 or 7-3.
And not only that, but the mental aspect of the game. You tell a 10-year-old kid, you're coming in the top of the sixth, and you're facing a 3-run or a 4-run deficit. It's totally different. Interesting choice there on bunting with 2 strikes. But that just shows you how big that run to Travis was. If he gets that bunt down, scores that extra run, so he was willing to take that risk with 2 strikes to try to get a bunt down.
John Hucko to the plate now. Yeah, it sounds overly simplistic for those of you that may not follow the game of baseball and the statistics behind it. I say that a 3-run lead is much bigger than a 2-run lead, and you say, well, yeah, no kidding, it's bigger. But what I mean is statistically, your chances of coming back from 3 down as opposed to 2 down, you're talking about a percentage jump of probably 20, 25%, maybe even more than that, 30, 35%, the chances of you not being able to come back in a ball game. Getting that 3rd run is statistically so much more difficult than getting 2 in an inning, especially with the power that Banditos possesses. Off the outside corner to the left-hander, 2-1 count. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out. 2 men in the inning, and 2 men on in this spot.
Big at bat right here for the Futures here. This could either extend the lead or give the Banditos a shot coming in just 2 runs down. This is huge right here.
Remember, this is the top half of the 6th, the bottom half of the 5th inning. Bottom half of the 5th inning. So the final frame is coming up next. Texas in white and black, the visiting team. This one shot into center field, moving over towards his right and making the catch as can to for out number 3. So North Carolina scrapes across 2 more runs. They have scored 5 runs over the last 2 innings, and now 3 outs away from the national championship game. Well, here we go. Top half of the 6th inning. Those young men in red and white. Boys from North Carolina, 3 outs away from moving on to the national championship game in the 2019 TravelBall Select 10U National Championships, live from Lake Point Sports Complex here in Metro Atlanta. Alongside Rick Goff, I'm Chris Mooneyham. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. The Banditos from Texas to the plate in the top half of this 6th inning. Potentially the final frame with Roman Martinez, Bennett Schnee, and Josh Flores, your scheduled 3. Martinez 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a lineout. That one sweeping off the outside corner from John Hucko. 1-1 count. Winner on to the national championship game where one of Florida's finest is waiting for them in what will be a double elimination championship.
Right now, the Banditos are just trying to figure out a way. We've got the bottom of the order coming up. They're just trying to figure out a way to get the top of that order, give themselves a chance to try to do some damage here in the top of the 6th inning.
Banditos have been good, not great offensively in this ball game. We've seen far less offense in this affair than I thought we might. To be honest with you, Rick, a walk to Roman Martinez to start things in the 6th inning. 8 runs, 9 hits combined for the 2 clubs. As a matter of fact, 3 runs on 5 hits and 2 errors for Banditos of Texas. That's 3, 5, and 2. 5 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for SBA Futures of North Carolina. Bennett Schnee takes ball 1.
And once again, we find ourselves with what? The leadoff batter reaches base.
Yep. And each of the last 2 times we've seen it, they've come around to score. Back into the screen and the count even at 1s. Schnee, a strikeout victim. He was caught looking to start the 2nd inning. He reached the exact opposite fashion in the 4th inning with a walk. Roddy waits at the plate. Lefty checks the runner at first, and he's safe. Our next broadcast for you live here on Facebook Live will feature the championship of the Challenge Cup. We'll bring you that broadcast at 1 p.m. thereabouts. Right back here on field 14 at the absolutely picturesque Lake Point Sports Complex. Outside corner, dropped it right in for a 2-2 count. Great view from our center field camera. Hucko versus Schnee, and the 2-2 fouled away.
You know, we're when dealing with 10-year-old kids here, you know, we're into the 6th inning now. Hucko's been on the mound. You got to wonder if fatigue's starting to set in here a little bit. He walked the first batter. He fell behind to this guy. He's got it back to even here at 2-2, but he doesn't seem to be as sharp as he was early on.
Not quite as much break on the bender. Completely agree with you.
And you know Travis for SBA, he's sitting over in the dugout. He's got a plan B, I guarantee it, and he's got a plan C as well. So depends on all what happens here with the batter at the plate right now.
Schnee does a good job of spoiling one that was just a tad bit too close for him to take. Who do we have in that Challenge Cup championship now? Who ended up advancing? I'll beg your pardon for not knowing.
Well, we still
I may be catching you. Are they still playing over there?
Yep, they're still playing over there.
Okay.
I'm looking over my shoulder here. It looks
Team
like,
24 from South Carolina and Mizuno Golden Spikes from Mississippi.
Team 24 looks to be up in the 5th inning, 7-2.
Ah. Well, the winner will meet the East Tennessee Braves in the championship of that Challenge Cup. Now, I got to tell you something, Rick. I take exception with this. Did they call a balk?
They did.
Before the motion?
I was looking over my shoulder at the score for the Team 24 game,
Okay.
so I did not catch what happened here.
No, that was awfully close. Ground ball, right field, base hit. They're going to wave the runner to the plate, and here comes the throw. This could be close. He's safe. Runner moving down to second. That's Schnee, and he's in safely. Tying run is 130 away.
Here's a situation to where if you're the Futures, I think you just have to throw that ball into second base, keep the force in order, and maintain that run-1 lead. You got to keep him out of scoring position. But, you know, at 10 years old, you're trying to be, you know, the hero, I guess is a good way to put it, of the game and try to throw that runner out at the plate. Now they got themselves in a situation. The Banditos at top of the order is coming back up here. It's looming hard, and looks like Travis is going to make a pitching change here.
Indeed he will.
Incredible performance by Hucko. I mean, he outstanding job here, keeping the Banditos to where they're at right now. That's a great job by that young man.
A new man on the mound is going to be Griff McCain, number 34, Griff McCain, who's been in right field for most of the ball game. So McCain will move to the mound. We'll see where Bucko's been moved to here momentarily. One more time, I want to remind you, we'll have the Challenge Cup Championship game, the Braves of East Tennessee, who were winless in group play, by the way, in pool play, but they've gone on a tremendous run in bracketed play, winning 3 consecutive ball games, outscoring their opponents 29-14, will have that championship game for the Challenge Cup as they will take on either South Carolina or Mississippi at right around 1 p.m., probably just a shade after, here on Facebook Watch, or Facebook Live, as it were. Now Josh Flores with a chance to tie the ball game up. The tying run is down at second base, 130 feet away. Bases here at the 10U classification, 65 feet apart. So 130 feet away from tying the ball game up. Still nobody out in the inning. Martinez walked. Schnee delivered a base hit that plated Martinez. By the way, Martinez walked. Let me be precise. He then made it down to second on a balk. He then scored the run on the base hit by Schnee. And Bennett made his way down to second after the throw came in from right field to the plate. Flores, a 1 for 2 days so far. He grounded out to the first baseman unassisted. And he singled back in the fourth. Two 1 count. The two top teams in America, according to the TravelBall Select national rankings. Someone headed home here in the next few minutes. Inside corner for a strike, 2-2. McCain looks in. Now throws down to second. And the runner back in safely.
That's a timing play between the pitcher and the shortstop here. You'll notice he looks in and gets a signal from his catcher on when to throw the ball back to second base. That's a close play right there, but he got his hand in there.
Coach out to have a conversation with the field umpire. Yeah, it looks as though we do have ourselves another challenge.
Looks like he's going to challenge us. Let's take a look at it one more time here. This is a design play again.
Well, he certainly beat the ball back to the bag, but where was his hand in relation to the shortstop Newell's knee? That's my only question.
Looks like his hand gets back in there.
Yeah.
You watch right here, right there. It looks like his hand's back in. So we run it right here.
Yeah, I'm with you. It looks like he's in right there.
Yeah, looks like he's right before the
as long as his hand is able to get past the knee
right
of
there.
Newell.
That's a great angle right there.
Yeah. The officials right now actually bringing up the very topic that I brought up. So we'll see.
And keep in mind, when you go to replay, they're trying to figure out now what can actually be reviewed and what can't be reviewed right now. And it opens up a whole can of worms, not just safe out, but just a whole rule in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not reviewable. Okay. Yeah, back pick at his second base. Yeah, we're looking at obstruction.
Yeah, they're checking on obstruction.
On the knee right there, blocking the access to the bag. So we're
a youth rule.
A youth rule, right? And we're trying to see. Actually, it's a federation rule. It's a pro rule. You cannot block access to the bag. So this is not just a youth rule. And so what they're doing now, they're trying to see if that is something that is reviewable.
All right, here's what we got, Jeff.
You talk about the beauty of technology. As we speak, we have an official with his cell phone.
Go back. Go back again.
And you can hear him here on our microphone live. You know, if Major League Baseball and the Major League Baseball broadcast would do what we're doing right now, this would go over like gangbusters. People would love this if they did this on Sunday Night Baseball,
Yes.
where you can hear the official into our microphone right now.
And hear their thought process and
Yeah,
the reasoning
yeah.
behind it all.
He's FaceTiming with an official and showing the replay, asking about obstruction
Yeah.
and whether or not that's a legal play there.
Right.
That was absolutely, if you love sports and you love the way games unfold, the little details, the minutia of it, that was, I don't know if thrilling is the right word, but that was really great to see how that all unfolded.
And when you go to replay, Chris, again, I got to stress, it opens up not only the safe out call from the play, it also opens up everything else that is involved with the play. Here's exactly what's going to happen, Chris. Chris, this is exactly what's going to happen.
Wow. Well, sometimes I know a little bit about the game. Yeah, just every once in a while. Not to brag.
You were on it. You were on it.
Wow. Well, I didn't. You know what, though? In all seriousness, I didn't think that they would call it. I didn't think it would be part of the process, in all honesty. But I did think it was worth mentioning because I did spot it, and it does look as though they're going to give the runner third base and call the obstruction on the shortstop who was covering the bag. That is a massive, monumental development in the ball game now. Again, nobody out, and the tying run is at third base. And this is going to incense, I'm afraid, the coaching staff for North Carolina.
And here comes Travis out now. He wants to get an explanation.
Because he's saying, wait a minute, he may not have been out at second or safe at second, but how are we giving him third base? And they're going to have to explain it to him.
They're going to have to explain it to him, and this is where asking for the replay is actually backfired on the futures and on SBA because, you know, he was safe as it was. Travis was hoping to try to get an out, but not only did he not get an out, the obstruction is called. Now he gets third, which is a big play because now he's at third with no outs.
Right. So you're a ground ball, fly ball,
Wild
obviously
pitch.
a pass ball, wild pitch, and of course an error away from the tying run potentially scoring. We're in the top half of the final frame here in the 2019 10U TravelBall Select National Championships, where number 1 leads number 2 in America, that is. Number 1, North Carolina, leads number 2 in America, Texas, by a single scant run. 2-2 count.
Travis is elected to bring the infield in. They're in all four spaces here, all four positions. Any ball hit.
Right at the second. Can't catch it on a line. They'll have to take the out at first base, and that will tie the ball game. It pops right out of the glove of the second baseman, Brax Thompson. So close.
So 2 times we've seen that happen. 2 times it's worked out exactly the way the coaches wanted it. Unfortunately, the result for the defense was not the same. Earlier in the game, the third baseman threw it away to the catcher. And in this one here, he was coming home with the ball. There was no doubt about it. But when he bobbled it, he has no choice but to go to first, let the tying run score.
RBI ground out 4-3 for Josh Flores. And we are tied in the top of the final inning at 5-5. Now 5 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors for Texas. It's 5 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for North Carolina.
If we don't get the obstruction there, we now have a runner at third with 1 out. So that was a crucial call in the game.
Brandon Alvar at the plate. Alvar 0 for 2. Couple of strikeouts. One where he was caught looking and one swinging. 1 man out, nobody on. Swing and a miss. 1-2 count.
Great pitch by that young man there. He took a little something off that one, got him out in front of it. That was a very, very, very good job right there.
Two count. High pop. At first, the call and the catch made by Talmadge for out number 2.
Let's take that a step further. We have the runner at second base, doesn't move to third on the obstruction. You move to third on the ground out, right? You move to third on the ground out, 1 out. Now you got the pop fly to the first baseman,
Yep.
2 outs, runner at third. Crucial play. I just can't stress that enough.
And does he even move to third on the ground out? Because the infield would be playing back if he's at second base, or at least halfway. They wouldn't be playing up, that's for sure.
For sure, but traditionally anything going to the right side,
Right.
you're going to move over to third.
Sure.
So right now you would have had a runner at third with 2 outs.
And now a 2-0 count on Colt Lozano.
The beautiful thing about baseball is you can play the what-if game all day long, right?
Yep, absolutely. We talked about it last inning for North Carolina when they had 2 men at third base and ended up getting out of it without either of the 2 men being caught on the base pads and out. They ended up getting 2 runs out of that inning and claiming what was, at least for the moment, a short-lived 2-run lead. That one poured in there. Off-speed pitch for a strike. And McCain's into the at-bat at 3-1. Lefty deals. That one sent down the right side. And we're into a full count pitch now. What a line score. This has turned into a dramatic ball game that had all the billing coming in. McCain shakes off a couple, now agrees and deals. And it's shot foul once again. Texas hits a leadoff home run to start the ball game. First batter of the ball game with Frankie Cantu to take a 1-0 lead. Added a run in the third inning for a 2-0 lead. Took a no-hitter into the fourth. SBA Futures not only broke up the no-hitter, but scored 3 runs in that frame to take the lead. That ball's going to drop in for a base hit. Holy smokes. Cut off the end of the bat a little bit by Colt Lozano, and usually that's bad news, but this time it's a little bit of good news. He got out in front, caught it off the end of the bat, was able to force it into left center field for a base hit.
Yeah, it seemed like there might have been a little miscommunication between the shortstop and the center fielder on this one. And I think it's one of those I got it, you got it type deals. You see the center fielder kind of laid back on it. You know, maybe, it was off the end of the bat, so maybe he thought it was going to be deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So North Carolina broke up the no-hitter, the shutout, and took the lead away from Texas in the fourth. Went from 2-0 down to a 3-2 lead. Texas scored a run in the fifth to tie it up. Carolina scored 2 in the very next half inning to claim that 5-3 lead, and now Texas has come right back in the next half inning to tie things up. We've had 8 runs scored between the two teams in their last 4 at-bats. We're back to the top of the order, and Frankie Cantu. This kid do it again. He's been the hitting star for his team today. Takes one on the inside corner. Count even at ones. We told you earlier about Frankie Cantu's numbers after he went deep. He's 2 for 2 in this ball game, 2 solo home runs and a walk. He's 4 for 5 on the day, counting their first elimination bracket ball game against Kangaroo Court of Florida. He had a double, a single, and scored twice. Can he add to the tally sheet? Waits for a 2-1. Runner breaking. Ground ball to the shortstop. Take your time, throw across, and that is the inning. Texas with a little bit of an uprising. 2 runs in the inning to even things up at 5-5. And now Carolina will look for the walk-off. So the potential for more dramatics as we make our way to the bottom half of the 6th inning. For those of you the uninitiated out there, again, this is potentially the final at-bat of the ball game, basically the bottom of the 9th in the equation of Major League Baseball. So the bottom of the 6th between number 1 in America, North Carolina, number 2 in America, Texas. The Banditos from Texas just a moment ago tied the ball game with 2 in the top half of the final frame, and now an HBP earns Brax Thompson first base. That is a funny way to start the final frame. Roman Martinez has been good on the mound today, but he hits the leadoff batter in the final inning, potentially.
And the leadoff batter again.
And we still have seen them come around to score over the last few
great
innings.
bunt.
Indeed. And the sacrifice will work. Hayden Talmadge with the sacrifice bunt. He's retired 1-3, puts the game-winning run 130 away, 130 feet away.
Classic baseball right there. I don't care what age group you are. You bunt the runner over to second base. You're in the bottom of the 6th inning. The winning run now is at second base. Great job by Travis and the boys to play baseball what I call the right way, right? Let's move them over, play small ball, and it's kind of hard to it's an oxymoron to play small ball in small fields, but that's exactly what he just did.
Will Parrish, the chance to be the hero. His strikeout in the 3rd inning started that frame. His flyout F9 ended the 4th frame. He could end this ball game potentially. Oh, it gets through the mitt of the catcher, throw down to 3rd, and the winning run is now 65 feet away.
Interesting fact about Will Parrish. We had our skills competition here on Monday night, and Will was the home run derby champ.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Martinez steps off. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. You gonna pull the infield in now?
Oh, you have to.
Yes, indeed.
You have to. You got to pull your outfielders in, your infielders in. Everything is to the plate.
Martinez looks in.
Look how close the second baseman is.
Set and deal. Back into the screen. Parrish was trying to lob another one off over the fence.
He's trying to end the game with 1 swing right there.
Fly ball, ground ball, error, walk. Pass ball, wild pitch. Myriad of ways now you can win this elimination bracket ball game and move on to the national title game. 1-2. Shot, foul. Championship inside the Challenge Cup is coming up next. And we'll have the national championship game, potentially game 1 of the national championships coming up right around 3 p.m. or so. Fouled once more. Fastballs from Martinez.
Martinez is going right at him.
Yep.
He's not gonna take a chance of throwing one in the dirt here and letting him score on a pass ball or a wild pitch. And Parrish is battling. But you know, look at the composure of both these kids. Neither one of them look phased at what's going on right here.
To right and curling and out of play. SBA futures from North Carolina. Banditos.
Martinez is towing the rubber and basically saying, "Here's my best, come get me."
And the 1-2.
We're going to need more baseballs. He keeps this up.
I'm looking over at the boxes of baseballs off to our right. Martinez, another 1-2. And it's hit to the shortstop, coming to the plate, and safe! North Carolina moves on to the national championship game.
And here is the instant replay that Coach Cadena has used his 2 challenges already. He doesn't have a third, because I guarantee you if he did, we'd be instant replaying that play at the plate right there, at least taking another look at it.
I knew that's exactly where you were about to go. That's
Yeah.
why I handed it off to you. You're exactly right. He had no replays left to run, or else it would have made the complexion of this ball game the end of.
Let's take a look at it
vastly
ourselves
different.
here. We can take a look at it here. Hard smash to the shortstop, sets his feet, comes to the plate. High throw, a little high. Yeah, he's safe. That was a great call.
And he was indeed going on instant contact.
Yep.
6-5 is your final. North Carolina SBA Futures from North Carolina take out the number 2 team in America, the Banditos from Texas. And so now we know right around 3 p.m. Eastern time, maybe a shade past 3 p.m. Eastern time, but stay with us just the same. We'll have Florida's I Am Baseball come out of the winner's bracket. Also a 4-0 team inside of group play. And they have just pounded opponents in both group play, pool play, and inside of tournament play to the tune of 54-31, as a matter of fact. That'll be the national championship for the 10U classification. Coming up next, we'll have the 13U. No, I'm sorry.
That's 1:30.
1:30 will be our next game.
1:30.
You fooled me there. I was thinking, wait a minute, did you change the schedule?
My chicken scratch.
We'll have
the.
we'll have the next ball game inside of the Challenge Cup, the championship of the Challenge Cup, coming up at 1:30 here on Facebook Live. For Rick Goff and our entire crew at the Lake Point Sports Complex, I'm Chris Mooneyham. Thanks for joining us, everybody. North Carolina on to the national championship.